Monica, how would you evaluate how Caitlyn Clark came out the gate?
It doesn't look like she's missed a beat. I mean, yeah, no, you're absolutely
Exactly.
right. That's appropriate. I mean, let me show you. I can show you better than I can tell you. She's also got 3 assists and 5 rebounds. So let's check out the assists first. We know about the court vision for Caitlyn Clark. Beautiful pass here to the Aaliyah Boston on Brianna Stewart. And then now we get to the threes, okay?
Here we go.
Now we get to the logo commercial
goodness.
threes. This is probably the only one in the game, the one she just hit, where I thought she was straight up guarded by a singular person, and there was not a second person in the vicinity, as you see there.
She's not just back. She came back swinging, scorching, and stunning. After a short stint on the sidelines due to a foot injury, Caitlyn Clark returned to action today and didn't just pick up where she left off. She raised the bar. The rookie sensation, the most talked about player in women's basketball this year, stepped back onto the hardwood with the weight of expectations on her shoulders. And absolutely delivered. This wasn't a cautious re-entry. This wasn't a feel-it-out performance. This was a full-blown takeover. The kind of performance that shifts momentum, shakes the standings, and silences every last doubter. Clark exploded for 32 points on efficient shooting, including 7 three-pointers that felt like thunderclaps. She dished out 9 assists, controlled the tempo, grabbed 8 rebounds, and added 2 blocks and a steal for good measure. But those numbers, as jaw-dropping as they are, only tell part of the story. This wasn't just about stats. It was about energy, presence, and leadership. It was about walking back into the spotlight and owning it. It was about sending a clear message not just to the New York Liberty, but to the entire WNBA. I'm back and better than ever. Let's not forget the opponent either. The Liberty are no pushovers. They're one of the most loaded teams in the league, featuring former MVP Brianna Stewart, sharpshooter Sabrina Ionescu, and one of the best front courts in the game. But on this night, none of that mattered. Clark took control early, rallied her team, and dismantled a championship contender in a 102-88 victory that felt bigger than a regular season win. It felt like a moment, a shift. She didn't just return to the lineup, she reignited her team and lit up the league. She played with calm under pressure, sharp decision-making, and the kind of fire that transforms a young player into a franchise cornerstone. The crowd fed off her energy. Her teammates followed her lead. The Liberty had no answers, and across social media and sports media, the reaction was immediate. Caitlyn Clark is here to stay, and she's just getting started. In today's video, we're breaking down every angle of this epic comeback. From her most jaw-dropping plays to the Fever's chemistry and execution, to what this game means for the playoff race and the bigger picture of the WNBA season. Whether you're a longtime fan or just tuning into the Caitlyn Clark phenomenon, you're going to want to stick around because this wasn't just a good performance. It was a statement, a warning shot, and maybe the start of something truly special. Missed the game? Don't worry, and we've got you covered. Let's dive in. June 14th, 2025. A date Indiana Fever fans circled the moment it hit the schedule, not just because of the opponent, but because it marked the long-awaited return of their franchise player, Caitlyn Clark. After missing games due to a foot injury, questions swirled around her condition. Would she be at full speed? Would she be tentative coming off the injury? Could she still lead this team against one of the toughest lineups in the WNBA, the New York Liberty? The anticipation was electric from the moment fans entered Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Warm-ups felt different. Cameras flashed every time Clark touched the ball. Fans held up signs like Queen's Return, 22 is back, and Fear the Fever. Even Liberty players stole glances. Because when Caitlyn Clark plays, the spotlight follows. Then it began. Clark's very first possession told the story. No hesitation. She took a quick handoff, read the screen perfectly, and pulled up from deep behind the arc. Swish. Just like that, the Fever were on the board and the crowd erupted. No signs of rust, no fear, just a clean, confident jumper that said, I'm back. But it wasn't just scoring that set the tone. Clark was everywhere, directing traffic like a coach on the floor, diving for loose balls, pushing the pace in transition. She wasn't testing the waters. She was attacking, slicing through defenders, driving and kicking, initiating ball movement like a veteran floor general. 1 minute, she was knocking down a contested 3. The next, she was delivering a laser-like pass to Aaliyah Boston, under the rim. It felt less like a return and more like a takeover. By the end of the first quarter, Clark had already tallied 10 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds, and the Fever led the Liberty. The body language told the rest of the story. Clark's swagger was back. The Fever bench was hyped. The Liberty rattled. For a player coming off an injury, this wasn't a cautious re-entry. This was a full-throttle reintroduction to the league. There was also something deeper in the way Clark moved, a sense of urgency, like she had something to prove. And maybe she did. Every rookie gets doubted. Every star gets questioned. But on this night, Clark answered those doubts not with words, but with pure basketball brilliance. She looked stronger, more mature, and more in control than ever before. And what made it all the more impressive? This wasn't against a bottom-tier opponent. This was the New York Liberty, last year's WNBA finalists, stacked with all-stars like Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Jonquel Jones. And yet, Clark made the game look like her own personal stage. She didn't just return to action, she commanded it. As the quarter ended, Clark jogged to the bench to a thunderous ovation. Her teammates embraced her. Fans stood on their feet, chanting her name. It was more than a welcome back. It was a celebration of a player who doesn't just play the game, but elevates it. Caitlyn Clark's return wasn't just good news for the Fever. It was a reminder to the entire league. This rookie is not just ready. She's leading, she's learning, and she's already rewriting what's possible. Let's take a closer look at how this game unfolded, because Caitlyn Clark's impact was felt in every quarter. The first quarter set the tone. Clark opened the game with a deep three that got the crowd roaring and instantly put pressure on the Liberty's defense. She followed it up with smart passes, aggressive rebounding, and total control of the pace. The Fever came out energized, feeding off Clark's return and taking an early lead. In the second quarter, the Liberty started to push back. Led by Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, New York clawed their way back into the game, finding success in transition and capitalizing on some defensive lapses. It looked like the momentum might be swinging, but the Fever didn't flinch. Then came the third quarter, and that's when Caitlyn Clark took over. She dropped 14 points in the third alone, including several momentum-shifting three-pointers and dazzling assists in traffic. She played with urgency and swagger, slicing up the Liberty defense and rallying her teammates with every play. The crowd was electric, and Indiana fed off that energy. By the time the fourth quarter rolled around, the Fever had seized control. Clark kept the pressure on, delivering timely buckets and setting up teammates to close out the game strong. Defensively, the Fever tightened up, limiting the Liberty to just 18 points in the final frame. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. From the opening tip to the final buzzer, Indiana looked like a team with something to prove. And Clark was the driving force behind it all. This win wasn't just about putting another number in the win column, it was a turning point for the Indiana Fever. Beating a powerhouse like the New York Liberty and doing it with authority sends a clear message to the rest of the league. The Fever are no longer just a rebuilding team. They're a real threat. With Caitlyn Clark leading the charge and playing at an elite level, Indiana now has the confidence and momentum they've been searching for. This victory proves they can go toe-to-toe with top-tier competition and come out on top. It also showed the depth and growth of this young roster, especially in how they rallied around Clark and executed as a unit. For a team that started the season with growing pains and questions about how their young stars would mesh, this game was a breakthrough. It showed maturity, chemistry, and most importantly, belief. And with Clark looking more composed and dangerous than ever, the Fever's path to the playoffs just got a whole lot more realistic. This wasn't just a bounce back, it was a defining moment that could reshape the trajectory of their season. What made Caitlyn Clark's performance even more impressive wasn't just the numbers, it was how much she's grown in such a short time. From her early games in the WNBA to now, the difference is undeniable. She looks more confident, more in control, and far more comfortable against top-tier competition. Early in the season, she had flashes of brilliance, but also moments of hesitation as she adjusted to the speed and physicality of the league. Now, she's reading defenses like a veteran, making smarter decisions with the ball, and showing incredible composure under pressure. Her playmaking has evolved. She's not just racking up assists, she's setting up her teammates in rhythm, controlling the tempo, and dictating the flow of the game. Defensively, she's more engaged, fighting through screens, switching smartly, and even coming up with big blocks and timely steals. This game was a clear sign that Clark is no longer just reacting to what's happening, she's anticipating it. Her basketball IQ is on full display, and she's beginning to take command in ways few rookies ever do. It's a natural progression for someone with her competitive drive and talent, and it's scary to think how much higher her ceiling still is. This wasn't just a bounce-back performance, it was a showcase of growth, leadership, and the makings of a future WNBA superstar. Caitlyn Clark's return wasn't just a good game. It was a reminder of how special she is and how dangerous this Indiana Fever team can be with her at the helm. This performance wasn't just about scoring points or padding stats, it was about setting the tone for the rest of the season. Clark played like a leader, elevated everyone around her, and delivered one of the most exciting games of her young career. For the Fever, this win builds belief. Belief that they can compete with the league's best, belief that their young core is ready to take the next step, and belief that their star rookie is exactly who they hoped she'd be. For the league, it's a wake-up call. Caitlyn Clark isn't just hype, she's here and she's taking over. But now, we want to hear from you. Is this the game that turns the Fever into a legit playoff team? Is Clark already playing at an all-star level? Maybe even MVP caliber? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more WNBA coverage, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment from one of the game's fastest rising stars. The story is just beginning, and Caitlyn Clark is writing it in bold.